you can start. We can have break for 2 minutes for Gokte sir.
Two minutes starts now. All right. We are really missing Gokteji. He was so regular. I think he never missed this Thursday dialogue. So, friends, let us get down to today's dialogue. And we have perhaps a little different kind of topic, though it is also inspired by one of the talks delivered by Krishnaji only in one of his talks. He says, or he talks about a pause. Our topic is, are you pursuing goals all the time? Are you pursuing goals all the time? How about taking a pause? So we must clarify what is meant by a pause. A pause is where we do not think about any goal, either a distant goal or a goal to be achieved in the next 1 or 2 days, or we realize that a goal is something that almost hijacks our mind. There is a place for a goal to be kept in mind. There is indeed a need to remember our goal, our destination. Therefore, we are not saying forget all your goals and live just like that. What we call functionality comes in. If not psychologically, functionally, we do aim at reaching somewhere, accomplishing something, completing some job, handing over to someone else. Life is full of these junctures where one job is over, one project is over, then we pay attention to another project, and so on. But the issue here is this kind of being engaged with goals could make us blind to certain truths, make us blind to certain trappings in which we may be caught. And while we have we have no fixed opinion, we have not decided that the goal we are pursuing is wrong or misdirected, etc. All the same, it is possible that there is something not desirable in the goal or in the goals that we are pursuing. So, taking a pause is for us to examine our own journey, not very consciously, because if we consciously examine our journey, it becomes another mechanical process. So, what is this taking a pause? In a sense, taking a pause is a suspension of activity. The word pause has in it the meaning of for a short while. A pause is for a short while. Stop could mean once for all. So, someone defined a pause as a suspension of activity, a time of temporary disengagement when we are no longer moving towards any goal. We must note that such a pause can happen in the midst of almost any activity, almost. I'll soon touch upon an example where a pause is not at all desirable. A pause would be a very unintelligent thing to do. We'll look at one or two such examples. Otherwise, we may pause anytime, anywhere. For example, we may pause in a conversation. We may pause in a conversation, letting go of what we are about to say. Why would we do that? We pause in order to genuinely listen to the other person, to genuinely be with the other person. We let go of the urge to say something, we pause and we listen to the other person who also has some urge to say something. So it's interesting that a pause can be taken in talking, a pause can be taken in walking, in writing, in planning, in eating, in thinking. In fact, you can take a pause even in worrying. You're worrying about something and then you say, let me take a pause. I have been worrying for last 1 hour. We'll take a short 5 minutes break in worrying. Then we'll start worrying again. So though it may look funny, it is valid. So a pause is by nature time limited. We resume our activities, but then what did the pause do? When we take a pause, we don't have any definite goals or definite purpose for it. It is by certain deep intelligence that we say, hey, let's take a pause. We take a pause, and when we resume our activities, we are likely to do so with increased presence and more ability to make choices. I'm sure some of you already are thinking that this pause is nothing but letting go of certain mechanicalness in us. Well said. We tend to be mechanical. We tend to keep going, going, and going. And that mechanical dimension of ours doesn't like us to question anything. Just keep going, it says. Therefore, certain urges, certain tendencies on different levels. Somebody is about to sink his teeth into a chocolate bar, let us say. And his conditioned mind already imagines as he begins to taste the chocolate, his conditioned mind recognizes the excited tinge of anticipation, and same time there may arise some background cloud or some guilt or self judgment. So, when there is a little self awareness of that kind, typically a man may choose to go ahead, eat the chocolate, fully savoring the taste sensations, or the man might decide to skip the chocolate and instead go out for a run. So, in this example, you find a little pause is such that a man doesn't know what he will do next. But this pause opens up possibilities. If he had not paused, he would have just gone ahead and finished the whole chocolate bar. Now, coming to an example or two of situations where it's not good to pause at all, because this pausing also should not become another mechanical activity. No matter what, I'm going to pause now. If one says, then one has become mechanical. Suppose a child, our child, is running towards a busy street. Will it be right for us to say, oh, this is my time to pause? I'm not going to interfere. I see the child running into a busy street, but this is my time to pause now. That will be so stupid. If we see our child running into a busy street where cars are going left to right and right to left, that's not a time to pause. We rush and pull the child back. A second and last example is suddenly we find somebody coming with a stick and he is about to strike us. We don't just stand there and saying, yeah, this is dangerous, but it is my time to take 5 minutes pause. I will not do anything now. Anything to be done will be done after 5 minutes. If you wait like that for 5 minutes, the stick will fall on your head and blood will start flowing. Therefore, on such situations or at such times, not a time to pause, but react. We quickly find a way to defend ourselves. But then, why this topic at all? Pause. Let go of all your goals. Let go of all your judgments. Just a while ago, you were worrying. Just a while ago, you were regretting. Or just a while ago, you were riding a high wave. Wow, I am going to achieve this now. I am going to realize my dream of last 25 years. Whatever. But when you take a pause, you neither celebrate nor suffer any fear. In fact, you are totally in a watching mode. You watch yourself. Certain people have talked about it and written about the beauty and the value of taking a pause. Someone once wrote, when we take a pause, we actually meet our own vulnerability. And the lady who wrote this also adds, when we take a pause, we meet with our own vulnerability with the wisdom of radical acceptance. When I first read that, I did not understand what this radical acceptance is. But as I mulled over it, I realized. In a sense, it comes very close to what tradition calls Sharanagati. Sharanagati is where you not only accept, but as the adjective goes, you go for radical acceptance. That means radical means at the root of everything, not on the surface. At the root, radical means of the root. At the root level, you accept whatever is going to happen. You may say that's dangerous. Something terrible may happen, and how can you accept it? That is where the word vulnerability comes. Many places, the word vulnerability is not a good word. You are supposed to be very strong, not vulnerable. A fort is vulnerable when enemies come and hit the fort's wall a few times and it breaks. Would any king want a vulnerable fort? Everybody wants a strong, unbreakable fort, its walls. But Krishnaji has often talked about how in radical change, if we wish to really get out of our little self, we need to be vulnerable. So, what is this when we say during a pause, we meet with our vulnerability with the wisdom of radical acceptance? So, what it seems to say is as long as we are caught in memories, as long as we are held tightly by certain imagined celebration, I become that and I will be so happy. I sell away this property, that's my goal now. Find a good buyer and sell it off, and I will be so relaxed. So, our mind is full of conclusions. But when we take a pause and without being deliberate about it, some thoughts would anyhow arise. But we are in pause. Please note, being in pause doesn't mean we are blind or deaf or insensitive. When some thoughts arise, we notice them. And therefore, it is rightly said by the wise that when we open to whatever comes on its own, then radical acceptance is possible. Without opening to actual experience of the moment, radical acceptance is not possible. What is opening to the actual experience when we did not take a pause? Were we not going through actual experience? Of course not. When we are pursuing a goal, we do not realize it normally. When we are pursuing a goal, our conditioned mind has certain imagination about the goal, how we will be when we achieve the goal, how we will be if we do not achieve the goal. So we have aspiration, we have hope, and we fancy, as I said before also, we fancy some real good times when we achieve the goal. And we fear our losing out. Everybody goes ahead and we have lagged behind. So there is fear of losing and hope of winning. But in real life, has it not been our experience that many times we arrive somewhere only to find that it is not all that rosy as we had imagined? Somebody went to the Himalayas thinking by merely going to the Himalayas he would be happy for rest of his life. But very soon he realized that he was more peaceful back in his own village in Orissa or Bengal. So in millions of scenarios, whether it is building an institution, developing a company, marrying, having children, getting children married, in all these, even as we pursue a certain goal, we do understand that our own intelligence is rather limited. Therefore, not out of escapism, please note, but out of certain deeper understanding of life or out of seeing life from different angles of view, we settle for radical acceptance. We do our best. I have already said, pause is not an escape. If during the pause we do not have any insights, we do not get any insights, we gently come back and continue whatever we were doing. So the whole idea is there is something called conditioned responses, conditioned flow of thoughts, and then there is something which is called natural intelligence. Pause helps us begin to trust our own natural intelligence. Pause, a pause helps us trust our own naturally wise heart in our capacity to open to whatever arises. Generally, when we are in the grip of the conditioned mind, the last thing that we are ready for is for something to happen in some other way than we had imagined. While in the worldly wisdom, such a tendency, a strong opposition to anything other than what we had visualized, and celebrating when things happen the way we had visualized, that kind of attitude is sometimes praised as terrific commitment, such loyalty, such steadfastness, and blah blah. All these are said. On a certain level, yes, they deserve, or the matter deserves such praise. That's how, especially Krishnaji's teachings, make people raise their eyebrows. Certain values of human life, which are generally praised, are questioned with certain bitterness almost by Krishnaji. Take, for example, steadfastness. Dhruti, there is a Sanskrit word for it. Dhruti. You remain firm in the journey you have taken up. But Krishnaji questions all this kind of superficial descriptions. To remain firm in the face of obstacles is wonderful. But suppose someone asks you a question, are you remaining firm in your journey, or have you closed your eyes to certain realities which have surfaced? You seem to be not listening to anybody. You seem to be not hearing anybody. You don't even want them to talk. That is where you have become, or you have raised a strong wall. We have quoted a couple of times in previous sessions Krishnaji's very intriguing statement. He says, truth is like a robber. Truth is like a robber, and truth wants to enter your house. Truth wants to enter your house. But truth is like a robber, and you, fearing robbers, have built such a strong wall. Truth came several times, unable to break the wall. It said, okay, I give up, and went away. Very strange analogy and very strange illustration. Truth went away because it could not break the wall of resistance that you had built. Now the idea of vulnerability should become clear. Truth, the robber, comes to your house and you say, welcome. And then truth breaks the wall, or you open the door. Your neighbors may be surprised. Why did you allow the robber to come in? But this robber is truth. Thus, Krishnaji is also called an iconoclast, which literally means idol breakers. The Muslims went to so many countries and broke the idols. Even in our lifetime, in the last century, when we were all alive and watching, in Afghanistan, they broke those huge statues of Buddha. That is on a physical level. But Krishnaji is an idol breaker on the psychological level. You hold on to certain concepts and ideals, hold on to some fancies and imaginations out of your spiritual immaturity, and that is where a pause can make a difference. Let me conclude saying this radical acceptance is thus no other than becoming vulnerable, letting go of long held goals or concepts temporarily. And then you will actually feel whether your journey is again set to go in the same old directions or in a new direction. We are not, in other words, saying a pause necessarily makes you change the direction. A pause may expose something which would not have happened otherwise. A pause exposes a flaw in your visualization of how life should be. And then, since you have gone for a pause with a very open mind, you see, if it is a flaw, you see the flaw. Whereas if you have no pause, it's highly conditioned mind. Someone shows a flaw in your thinking, you resist. You get angry with that fellow. Don't come now and unsettle me. Be off the road. And so on. So it is all about being open during those short pauses and allowing some learning to take place. However, when that learning takes place and you get back to your journey, either in the same old direction or in the new direction, we are not saying that don't move at all. And you move, you keep moving. Let me finally say that a pause is nothing but making a provision for learning, learning, and learning during middle of the course. Mid-course corrections are possible. We don't say they do happen. Therefore, it's a simple topic we picked up. Take a pause. Do not pursue goals all the time. Take a pause, take a break, and listen to something deeper in you. Be open to some fresh learning. Let me end here my words. Namaste.
Harshad sir, would you please say something on the topic, please?
Yes. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji. You spoke mostly about pause, but not much about the goal, pursuing goals. People, when they are playing football, they want to make as many goals as possible, but we are not talking about football goals, but about the psychological goal, what we want to achieve. And generally, in birds and animals, there is no such a desire to think about the future. But in human beings, we want to achieve some goal, and different people have different goal, but mostly people want to be happy. I think that seems to be the goal of all human beings, and different people feel that happiness in different things. If they get more money or power or fame, they will be happy. So people are pursuing such goals. But people who are interested in spirituality, for people like that, the goal is what we call enlightenment, which means freedom. Freedom from all the problems which are created by thinking, feeling, and so in relationship, all that. So that happiness, it seems to me that the source is within us, and for that we have to understand what is it that is making us unhappy. It requires a self knowledge, and that is what the spiritual teachings are about, learning about ourselves. And if we get angry, then what happens if we are curious, observing the feelings which happen? So that can happen, this learning, in the pause when there is breaking away from the continuity of mechanicalness thinking. So this pausing is very important, and you gave a lot of importance, and it is necessary. Maybe a deep breathing and not thinking anything, but just observing. And in that, sometimes something new happens, some learning happens, and that can happen, that can help us in learning about ourselves. Now, one time in Sayadri School Study Center, we were discussing the topic of freedom from the known. And there was one person from Mumbai, he attended this dialogue, And he said, you people are talking about freedom from the known, but people are more interested in freedom from loan. That means the money which they have taken on loan, like farmers, students. So generally, people are occupied with the goal of just living, existing, surviving in the modern world because they have to earn a lot of money and for survival. So, what we are talking about is probably for people who don't have money as a big problem. And when money is a problem, people are busy with activities and they don't have much time to look deeper into their own self. But when money is not a problem, even then people could be very unhappy. They want more of it, or something else they want. And so the mind keeps on uh, churning and desiring, and there is no end to desire because there is this entity, what we call I or me, which is created by thinking. It is never wants to be quiet and silent. It always wants to achieve something more. And so the real, what Swamiji said, Sharanagati or radical acceptance that can help, or devotion, breaking the mechanicalness of our daily life, where we can sit quietly, breathe deeply, and not thinking much. In that, there is a renewal takes place, and that is possible, I think, for most people. And but that is not the priority for most people. They don't know the import. Many people, they can't even be alone and turn inward. They always like to occupy the mind with some activities, watching some videos on mobile, even it may be about spiritual topics or Krishnamurti. The mind has a habit of occupying itself. So breaking away from that activity, having a pause is a real luxury, I would say. And we do have this possibility, but very few people would like to take the that kind of pause in which there is a renewal, a clarity happens. And sometimes um, some new ideas also may come in such a pause. Okay, I think I have. We took pause for 2 minutes in the beginning before Swamiji gave a talk, and I think that also good. Pausing is being peaceful. That's what I feel, and that is possible for human beings who are deeply interested in having this kind of quietness or peace or silence. Okay, I think I've finished. Thank you.
Shakti please unmute and say.
Yes, sir. This I can recall three type of pauses which I have come across while reading and listening to Krishnaji. In one of his talks in 50s, he says, "Can you suspend your thought and look at the problem?" So that is one pause that he talks about. because we keep go on worrying about trying to find out answers for some problem or something. In those moments, is it possible to suspend thought and look at that problem? And I have experimented with it, and it might not solve the problem, but it gives clarity about that problem. Thinking doesn't give that clarity. Second type of pause is when he talks about desire. I look at an object. It can be a thing, it can be a person. And then there is sensation. And then with that sensation, immediately thought makes an image that now I own that thing or that person, an image. And from there, desire begins and invites us to experiment with when this sensation happens after looking at something or someone. Can there be a gap? Can there be a pause, a hiatus between thought taking over and that sensation prior to that? That is also, it can be tested out. I have seen that if it is done, the desire remains just a wish. It doesn't become a pursuit. And the last thing which I can recall is when one is watching thoughts, thought feelings, one thought comes, then another thought comes. Sometimes there is a gap, a pause between one thought and another thought. And Krishnaji, at one place, he says that it is important to keep watching that gap also, that pause also. So in this way, I can connect to this topic of pause. Thank you, sir.
Vinodhkati. Vinodhkati, please unmute and say.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Regarding the topic called taking pause, importance of pause, we've been groomed up from childhood, like from the LKG to throughout our education, making every second productivity as every second is valuable and every minute is your life. If if you pause for a second, you are lagging behind others. So this kind of attitude is being built right from our childhood. So we've been reading or academically how to make use of time, productivity, how to build up atomic habits, habits that are so powerful that everything takes over. You don't need to consciously think about it. Everything should be, the life should be unconsciously productive without your concern. So, with habits being taken over, this sudden gap of pause, sudden view from stepping back and looking at what is happening, Actually, it may sound like effortless, but there is a lot of effort being grown up in a line of productivity or in a line of continuous thinking. This stoppage or pause for even for a moment, even for a second, that shows that we are lagging behind. Is that a society is moving towards continuous productivity, like should work for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, even possible. So there is no gap, there is no art of pausing a second. So I always wonder, are we meant to think forever? Or is there any scope for pausing a moment and looking at what is happening? By the time we provide a time for pausing a bit, then other thoughts comes in. So you are wasting. You should continue to strive for learn one habit, learn another habit, learn a skill, learn another tool, learn another kind of meditation. This continuous urge for doing something actually provides pausing is completely uh, pausing seems like a tool, so it's another learning rather than going along with the flow. So I'm confused whether pausing has certainly got your senses back, but moment of relieving the senses is different. Seeing it holistically, how the life approaches or even our lifestyle approaches, whether society always wants to work and you are pausing for a moment, whether this efforts required is humongous. It's very hard. It's more effort. There is more effort in pausing than going with the flow. It's easy to flow, easy to go with the flow of thoughts. Then pausing a moment. It requires a lot of effort. Are we contradicting living effortlessly, or by pausing a moment which is very effortful, given the present scenario? So this effort and effortless comes again back to this. So I I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. Thank you.
Dr. Amarnath Kulkarni, please.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, and I am passed by the Gopteji's passing away. Thankful to the Swamiji for giving a very good, excellent picture. So here, what I understood, the paths are two types. One is the outer life, as Harshaji was saying about the money, sex, food, shelter, is a physical pause. And most commonly, what Vinodhkati ji was saying is the made pause. That is a thought. We are creating the thought and telling that I am paused. So that is made pause, or the with effort pause. So there is a pause which does not come and go. That is what Krishna ji is saying. And even Swamiji has touched that part. So freedom from the known or the me or the words and images, whatever the concepts I have collected, that I am pausing. A small example by Krishnaji himself was this. I am getting angry at the superficial level. Angriness is coming and going. I am seeing. Nothing is affected. Just like I am showing, बेटा खाओ नहीं तो अभी पुलिस आ जाएगा अब आके लेके जाएंगे आई एम टेलिंग आई एम एंग्री बट इनसाइड आई एम फुल्ली paused. Can I see that a thought is there, but the consciousness or the awareness acting as a thought? There is no thinker, and there is only the action There is no actor in that. I am very much impressed by the Swamiji's talk. So means the pause is looking at the thought, not thought looking at the past. Now we are talking about the thought looking at the past, but the pause is natural, is an easy one. It's not made. Even if you want to get by effort or non-effort, it's not coming. It's there already. So I am touched by spontaneously by listening to the Swamiji's lecture. The natural pause, or the emptiness, and we cannot most of the times name it. It is clearly said by even Harshadji as well. So that is to the self center. Normally, the pause means in spirituality is the getting away from the self center or the known, whatever the image. I have image about myself, about everything. I am seeing the image as image. I am not getting attached or detached or involved in that. So completely I am able to see it. Similarly, I was in this confusion, which was cleared by Krishnaji's talk. That was this. So I want to forget the past or the known, hmm, or I want to stop the thought. The moment I give importance to this thought or image, the rebound phenomena was going on. I want to talk, what I should talk, I'm planning. So rebound phenomena. The energy is depleting. The background activity is going on. So here Krishnaji is talking about no background activity at all. I am inside outside one. My talking, my thinking, and my action, three are one. And about learning, Swamiji has touched a lot. So he himself learning and living is happening simultaneously. There is no gap. Normally, learning and living, we are giving a gap. That is what the mind or thought. Simultaneously, it's so powerful and insightful and it's energetic. Most of the times, as Krishnaji says, life itself is a big challenge. We are not meeting with full response. Hardly 0.1 to 1% response is there. Some emergency is there. So if I am giving my 100% response and it is timeless, Katiji was saying about the time. So it's completely timeless. So seeing from timeless to the time, it gave me a different dimension, different giveaway, and so pleasant and happy to share this. Thank you, Swamiji.
Prasad sir, please unmute and say. Prasad sir.
Sir, Sushil Kumar, sir, I am so sorry I missed the talk of Swamiji, but I totally absorbed Shakti Kumarji's comments and Vinodhkati's comments. Actually, as Mr. Vinodhkati, I don't know how to pronounce his name, as he has said, we are all going in one direction, the materialistic direction, productivity direction, like that. We want to increase our productivity. And if we lose 1 minute in life by thinking of Krishnaji or somebody like that, we are losing in the competition. So life has become a process of competition, total competition. And even after retirement, we want to do some practice. We want to find some income earning process, avenue. That has become our life. And we do not even pursue happiness. We are thinking we are pursuing happiness. No, consciously we are not pursuing happiness. We are pursuing only money or power or influence. Those things which we think may give happiness. We don't even think that there is a link between them and happiness even. We are just lost in the pursuit of money and promotions. Just like that, we don't spare a minute to think of life as a whole. I was reading something about Bruce Lee, and he died. And there was a comment, even a Superman is mortal. Even a Superman is mortal. So we can't escape that mortality. That idea, very few people comes to very few people. That idea comes very few to very few people, and they don't entertain that idea at all. And even if sometimes the idea comes, they are lost in some belief, some puja, some donation somewhere. But nobody has time for pauses in life. And as Mr. Vinodhkati has said, pausing has become much more laborious than pursuing life, because this is a new discipline. To survive in the labor market, you have to acquire new skills. That is what everybody is saying now. With AI coming, you have to acquire new skills. And pausing has become another skill. So, my feeling is that nobody has time, and that is why we have very few people who are interested in K literature. Maybe thousands, or maybe even a million. But compared to the vast population of the world, some 700 crores or something like that, somebody who talks of a human brain, just all humanity has a single brain. Somebody who makes such propositions has very few audience. So, I mean, as Shakti Kumar ji has said, there are three pauses of which Krishna ji himself has said. Three pauses: to suspend the thought, or to have some pause between sensation and thought, so that desire doesn't occupy you. You don't have to pursue desire. And there is also another pause, which I have already forgotten, which Shakti Kumar ji has said. So we can think of those pauses, but basically we have no pause in life. We are just restless from one thing to the other. Now, even with amusement, if you get leisure because of AI, you are lost in amusement. Krishnaji said you have another direction, but nobody thinks of that direction. We are lost in the pursuit of amusement, entertainment, and he says even religion is an entertainment. And we can turn anything into an entertainment. Thank you, sir. That's all.
Rajendran sir, please.
Thank you, Shishil Kumar Jain sir and Swamiji. Sorry, I missed Swamiji's talk because I am living in a different time zone. Sorry, I missed it. So just I am reacting, just responding. to the speakers only. So some young friend was mentioning about effort. Actually, the effort itself is a thought only. We cannot make an effort to control thought or stuff. That is another form of effort itself. Everybody knows very clearly. Effort itself is a thought. So then, what is past? Actually, I'm sorry. I don't know how Swamiji dialogue was there and the lecture was there and the past. I don't know. But what I interpret is pause and stop. There are two different, we know, button in the mobile button or player or YouTube, etc. Pause is there and the stop is there. Pause is not stop. Suppose we are climbing up a hill. While climbing up, we may feel tired. The thought will say, okay, let us stop. Let us return back. But what the wise man does it, he will not give up. He will not stop because he will resist the thought. He will not listen to the thought. Instead of stopping and returning back, he will take a rest. Okay, that taking rest, I think, is a pause. So when when we see the futility of the thought, the instrument we are having for everything, the powerful instrument we use it for anything, yeah, anything and everything. We see the utility and the blindness and the uselessness of this dangerous weapon. We will throw it and we will surrender. Maybe the past may be that state of surrender. Okay, thank you.
Chidanandji, if you are here, please
Yes,
give.
I'm very much here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found the responses of everybody very interesting in different ways. And one comment that taking a pause becomes effort, while without taking a pause, just proceeding is effortless, was very thought provoking. And we wonder why it has become so. Taking a pause is going from action to inaction in a sense that should have been easier. Whereas continuing in the action should have been difficult because action means expenditure of physical energy, emotional energy. Work in physics is considered force into distance. So any action involves force into distance. We go further and further. There is expenditure of energy. And pause is taking a break. Everywhere else, taking a break is welcomed. When people are working at an office, the boss says, hey guys, let's take a break and have coffee together. Mostly people say, hurrah, that's very good. So people want a break from work. But when it comes to the psychological domain, nobody wants a break, for one gets attached to something one is doing. One gets attached to even not doing anything if it is one's choice. Not doing meaning just somebody is just resting, somebody is just listening to some music, somebody is just sitting and having tea. Then if you say, come on, take a break from the tea also, one doesn't like because one has chosen to sit and have tea. So interesting how our mind plays various games. What is welcome at one time is resisted at another, and what is resisted at one time is welcomed at some other time. So, watching this itself, I think, uh, is a way to learning. How come sometimes I get attached to working, and sometimes how I don't want to work at all? Is it just energies? Is it just tiredness that makes me take a break? Not really. It is so many conditionings. It's like sleep. Sometimes you want to sleep, you don't get. Some other time you want to work and you do not want to sleep, but sleep overpowers you. So, what's going on? Perhaps in case of Krishnaji and others, the body and mind and speech were very cooperative with him. But in the case of most of us, many a time we go on talking when an inner voice says, stop it, but we cannot stop. Body and mind and speech do not cooperate with us. Whether it is sleep, talking, eating, we live in conflict. Part of us says, stop it. And another part says, no, go on with it. Oops. Therefore, there is a urgency in taking stock of things, in examining what is messed up in our psychology. Very interesting it was. And I liked the joke also that Harshad shared. While we want to seriously discuss the freedom from the known, somebody said in Bombay we are all concerned with freedom from loan, LOAN. So true. Vast majority of people are, oops. I believe Venezuela, which is in news these days, first it was said it has so much of oil. That is true, but it has lots of loans. Venezuela, during the previous ruler, Hugo Chavez, and the present ruler, who is now captured by US, Nicolas Maduro, both these leaders apparently pushed the country of Venezuela to huge amount of debts. They owe billions of dollars to Russia, billions of dollars to China, billions to USA. So it's such a big mess. Very interesting. So the human mind is like that, running into trouble and not at all taking a pause and looking where we are moving. Habits rule our life. I'm really glad to say that every comment had certain originality in their responding to whatever points were raised by me in the beginning. Thank you.
Asad sir.
Yes,
Asad.
about making too much effort to have a pause, that reminds me of a kingfisher bird I saw above a lake, and it was trying to remain at one spot so that it can see the fish in the lake. And then the kingfisher was making a lot of effort to be at one spot, and then it dropped like a stone in the lake, caught the fish, and flew away. So I agree that if we are trying to take a pause, it will be difficult. It will more energy will be required, more effort will be required. Our it's our problem, I think, for human beings is that um, we lack a kind of awareness which can look at thoughts, and thinking is not a problem, I feel. When there is awareness, it can watch the thinking moving like a stream. And in that, there is no effort with this awareness. But without awareness, if we try to stop thinking, yeah, it will be more tiring. I agree with that. So, what we require is a different dimension called awareness, which is not thinking. It can see thinking very, very clearly. And in that thinking, it doesn't create a problem. One can feel rest even with the thinking going on. One doesn't feel tired. So this is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Amarnath, Dr. Amarnath, you wanted to still say something more? Your
Yes,
hand is
sir.
raised.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Rajendran sir. You have opened up a new angle. Actually, what I was thinking was like a stop, but as Krishnaji is saying, stay with your anger, stay with your conflict, and try to understand it. Stay with the thought, stay with the desire. As you said, a different angle opening up has happened. I wanted to thank you, and that's what the exactly said by doing the things with awareness. Even if you have doubt, have a awareness. As Krishnaji said, the doubt is a jewel. Your conflict is a jewel. See that. So the shift has happened is what I was thinking pause was a like a fixed one. But when you said suddenly it's a continuous pause. Previously it did not click me. But as you said, even while working, even I'm talking, I am seeing how my words are coming. I am seeing my how my thoughts are shaped. It's a different sphere has opened up. Thank you.
I think that at this juncture, we should end it. Modak, would you please end it now?
Okay.